Hello everyone. Today I'd like to talk to you about Trip to the North Pole. This is about the Polar Express, and it has some of the movie pictures inside of it. I know there are several versions of this book. One of the things I'd like to mention is if you are teaching in a country like South Korea, where Christmas is a nice idea that comes from America, and that's about as much as people know about it. They are not necessarily going to relate it with the Christian anything, or might not even know what the spirit of Christmas actually is supposed to mean. They may know you get Christmas presents on Christmas, but many of the people I talked to, they had a tree, but they didn't give presents, and they didn't have a special meal. It was just a kind of fun thing for kids. I feel like a lot of explanation has to be done before you get to this book. If you are an adult and you find yourself getting your hands on this book, I suggest read it. I mean, it does talk about every aspect of Christmas, but it has its own unique twist to it. So if you do read this book, you will get a better understanding of what Christmas might mean to some people, but also there's this whole like hobo Christmas king idea that's just for this book. You know, Americans don't have a king of the North. One of the warnings I would like to say is that they do use some dialect in this book, and reading dialect is always hard even if you're a native. And it has a lot of train words. This book is one of the ways that natives would learn train lingo. For example, as children, they would read it, they would get really excited about this idea of a Christmas train, and then they would want to learn all the different parts of the train. Let me give you an example. I'm going to read to you from the middle of the book to give you some of the dialect. Here we go. Wordless, the girl pointed out the window. The conductor had a look. I see, he said, mostly to himself. Caribou crossing. That's a fine kettle of fish. This will definitely put me behind schedule. The girl immediately followed the conductor outside. Come on, she said to the boy, motioning to him to come too. Up front at the cow catcher, the conductor joined Steamer. Smokey sat on the lamp housing. I reckon that herd's over 100,000, Steamer said. Maybe 1,000,000. It's gonna be hours for them. Bow is done crossing that track. Okay, that was that was the best little southern drawl that I could do. You're gonna see words with apostrophe F-O-R-E, and that's supposed to be the same as before. But you can't just write apostrophe F-O-R-E instead of before. This is transliteration of dialect. So that's the way the person is saying the word for, and so that's the way you spell it at that time. But you can't just use it at a different time, only in this way. So you have to kind of be clear with your students. This is a very short read, but I felt like you heard cow catcher, which is part of the front of the train, and you heard some dialects, and you heard some that's a fine kettle of fish is an idiom. So there's a lot of that going on here. I would say this is a mid to high level intermediate reading book, but I would strongly suggest reading it with a native if you can, if that's possible.